Hi and welcome back to Plastic Models by a Regular Dude and the Walker Bulldog M41 by Tamiya. As I mentioned in my intro to this kit, I am mainly using this as a test bed for some new weathering, new to me weathering techniques. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on mostly, but I want to kind of do this for the beginners as well, because there's a few things I'm going to be doing on this kit that I haven't done on some of the kits before, that I haven't had to do on the kits before. So I'm going to talk a little bit about it as I go along. So I'm going to get some parts ready here, and starting with step one, we'll get going. Alright, the first thing to do is, on step one, is to install this reinforcing plate, which is basically, it was a part that was unique to these older Tamiya kits. Once it's in place, then this whole top will snap into place with this. So you can, change batteries or whatever you're going to do for this motorized kit, if you have the motorized kit. We don't, but I'm still going to put this in there because it does offer a little bit of structural support and it will help attach the top. So I'm going to attach that. Then I will be putting in the two axles for the drive sprockets. And I will be doing the tow hooks. However, one of the things I'm going to do that I haven't had to do on any other kits in showing beginners how to do things is fill in all these holes. Now, is it really necessary to fill those in when it's on the bottom of the tank? Probably not. If you had an open hatch with a commander figure, you might be able to see, down, daylight, maybe, reflecting off the table surface. But it's not really necessary, but I'm going to do it anyway just to show how I do it. And it's kind of a good practice to get into if you're building an older kit, to fill those holes in just so it looks a little bit better. I'll also be filling in this right here. What that was, it was a slot. The motor had an axle and you attach the drive sprockets to that, so you had to have a way to set the motor down into place, and those axles would stick out the side. So we're going to fix that as well. Then the last thing on this portion, this isn't in this step, but as you can see here, this is all open right here. And again, you're not going to see it if it's sitting on top of the vehicle, but it is a good practice to fill these in, because oftentimes they're on the inside of the vehicle, and those are, do show a lot of light coming through. So I'm just going to show you how to fill those in, just to make them look a little bit better with some styrene plastic. So I'm going to go ahead and assemble all these parts for step one. Then I'll move on to step two and attach those parts, and then start filling in all the holes in the bottom. So I'll put this stuff together and come back. Alright, I've got the centerpiece in, but I haven't put the other parts in because I'm going to go ahead and do the filling in first. Now, first thing you need to do is, if it's kind of monkeyed up in here, like ejector pin marks or any other thing, just take a blade, or you could sand it, and just kind of smooth it out a bit, just to get it a little flatter in the bottom. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect either. There ain't nothing going in here except some plastic to kind of block it off. Once you got it pretty smooth super level, doesn't have to be real smooth. Once you get it pretty level, then measure this way and that way, however you can. I use this and just kind of, you know, guesstimate. I can't get it all the way down in there, so I just kind of guesstimate. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you do want it to cover all of that. So using some very thin styrene sheet, and this is the brand I use, available at most places. But if you don't have it available, you can go to a local hardware store and get a for sale sign or something like that, one of those plastic for sale signs, and use that because it's the same type of plastic. It's just styrene plastic. So you'll have a nice piece like that. That way you can cover up the inside, and you know, just use your handy dandy liquid cement. Run it along the edge there and the edge there. Kind of hold it in place for a minute. It'll dry really quick. Maybe run some down the sides if you so desire. There and there. Okay, so you got that blocked off, and then if you want, just touch a little bit in there. That'll hold it really good. Now I am just doing this to block off any potential light coming through, which again I don't really think is going to be an issue, but I did want to show you how to do it. Now if you really wanted to go gung-ho and really, you know, block it off, you could use some thicker styrene, cut to that size, a few chunks in there, and then once you have that filled in really well, you could use some putty and fill it in, and then sand it smooth, and that way you'd have a nice smooth surface on the bottom. But for our purposes, it'll work fine. And then I got some of the styrene strips, and I'm going to use it in here to block this off. Same thing, just chuck a little glue in there just to hold it in place. Oops, make sure it's down in there good, and that'll cover that up. Then I'll have to put another piece in there, but then in the middle here, drop a piece in there. Same thing. Et voila. It is now capped off. So I've got these two pieces here. I've got those capped off, good to go. Now, I saw this trick on a video today, and I sure wish I could remember what it was, because I would like to give credit where credit is due. But those pieces right there, some chap on a modeling channel used this part of the sprue and glued some pieces on the inside here to block that off like that. And again, you could fill that in if you wanted, but this is just purely to block that off so it's not as noticeable from the outside. Just like that. And you want to make sure it's flush or a little bit below flush, so when you put your upper hole in place, it doesn't get blocked by these pieces. So with that part is done. So I'm going to cut out the other parts for step 1 and 2. Get those all ready and get those glued on. Alright, as you can see here, I have cut the pieces to fill in right here. What I did first is I got some of my plastic strip that was the same size as, you can see right here, there's a little ledge, a little reinforcing thing there. I just got some of this that was about the same size and cut a little piece to put there and there, so it'd make it level. Wouldn't have to worry about one side falling in. Did the same thing right here. Right here, this slants up, so I didn't have to do it on this end. So then I just used a metric scale here, measured the width and the length, and using some of my thicker sheet styrene of the appropriate size or thickness, I was able to make the pieces to fit there and there. Now there's a little piece here, but there's parts that go up inside of there, so I can't fill those in. So it was really easy, and it just adds a little bit. I'm gonna glue them in. I'm not gonna worry about using filler since it is underneath, and you know, like I said, since this isn't going to be in any contest or anything, I don't really have to worry about you know, anybody really scrutinizing underneath. So I'll get that glued in, and then I will start working on some more of the lower hull components and start putting the wheels and drive sprockets and idlers together. Alright, priming was done, and now the paint is done, including I used Tamiya XF62 for the olive drab, used NATO black for the tire portions of the wheels. So the next step will be to do the decals. I'll do those, and then I'll start and do some of the detail painting before I start the actual weathering. Once I do the detail painting, I'm going to come back and start doing all the weathering underneath here. Get the wheels and tires, rubber portions, a basic weathering, so I can attach them. Then I can, you know, weather the whole thing together. I also need to prime and paint the tracks, but I will do that one of the last things. So with that, that's the end of this video of the M41 Walker Bulldog. If you have any questions or comments or anything, leave them below, and next time when we come back, when I come back, I will start the weathering process, or start the decals and the weathering process and all that. So until next time, thanks for joining me on Plastic Models by a Regular Dude.